Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. We're here every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Love for you to join us live. The issue of transgenderism has poked its head up out of the sand again. And this is in regard to people who are disenchanted. People who walked into this thing because the world seemed to be saying, yeah, this is not, and then all of a sudden realized it doesn't work. Here's a story of a man who formerly lived as a transgender woman and who had sex reassignment surgery. He's beginning to speak up about he regrets the changes that he made. And he's not alone. But the voices of these people are not being given the bully pulpit. They're not given a platform. They're underneath. The media, liberal as they are, is not willing to publicize these things. USA Today columnist Walt Heyer shares his first-person story about his experiences on the USA Today website. He writes, had I not been misled by media stories of sex change success and by medical practitioners who said transitioning was the answer to my problems, I would not have suffered as I have. Genetics can't be changed. Feelings, however, can and do. Underlying issues often drive the desire to escape one's life into another, and they need to be addressed before taking that radical step of transition. Heyer, who heads something called sexchangeregret.com, says he met and married a woman in his early 20s. They had 2 children. But he eventually began identifying as a woman himself. Now, that's the current phrase, identifying. He didn't become a woman. He just could identify with the woman better than he could with the men. He says those feelings were sparked by a grandmother who dressed him like a girl when he was 4 years old, and an uncle who sexually abused him. He started taking female hormones at age 42, when he had been old enough to think for himself. But the culture was on his side. He proceeded to have breast implants and genital reconfiguration surgery. As you might imagine, he and his wife split. He says, my childhood dream was realized and my life as a woman began. He changed his birth certificate. He became known as Laura. But looking back on it, he now tells us that with all of this going on, inside, he was not a happy person. A medical professional told him that his, quote, childhood events were not related to his current gender distress. A gender specialist told him to give it more time. Well, 8 years seemed like an awfully long time, and nothing was making any sense. He wondered why hadn't the recommended hormones and surgery work? Why was I still distressed about my gender identity? Why wasn't I happy being Laura? And why did I have such strong desires to be Walt again? At age 50, 8 years later, he had his breast implants removed. He spent the next few years in counseling. By age 55, his desires to be a woman were gone. He then met a woman who, as he writes, didn't care about the changes to my body. They were married, and they have been together now for 21 years. He says, you will hear the media telling you regret is rare. But they're not reading my inbox, which is full of messages from transgender individuals who want the life and body back that was taken from them by cross-sex hormone surgery and living under these new identities. After detransitioning, he says, I know the truth. Hormones and surgery may alter appearances, but nothing changes the immutable fact of your gender. You can visit Michael's website or blog at michaelfaust, F-O-U-S-T.com.